Welcome back to Golden Rule Radio, your weekly recap of the precious metals and the markets involved with the metals, and I guess anything involved with the metals, like maybe, say, an election or geopolitics.
Yeah, I think we mentioned last week that something was happening this week, and there's a whole lot of something happening this week. It's just one big something, but it seems to be happening for the entire week. So in that, we have quite a bit of, let's say, patience. We have been talking about this potential volatility, and I would argue we still expect to see it. However, being that the election is apparently stringing out a little bit longer than the 24 hours we all are used to, markets seem to be kind of in lockstep, except for the dollar, of course, which has been volatile the last couple days. But everything from metals to equities, it's sitting right in those nice little trading channels. So we will look at silver here, which is bouncing a little bit more, but seeing everything stick within the trading channels that we've been talking about for a few weeks.
You bring up equities. You have the industrials, which have gone up with the rest of the equity markets, but they haven't gone to a new high.
Correct. For a long time.
Right. And so the last couple of days here in trading, transports have also gone up, but they have not gone to a new high yet. S&P 500, NASDAQ have all rallied quite strongly this week, but they have not yet broken to new highs yet. So is there more behind this equity rally? Possibly, but possibly not, because you don't have the stimulus bill probably even on the table till what, Tori, like January when they come back into session?
Yeah, I just don't know that there's going to be a real improved working relationship with an outgoing president. It appears at this time, we're recording on Wednesday, it appears as if it's going to be a Biden win, and it appears as if you're going to have a Pelosi-Trump showdown again with getting some stimulus done. So I think you're right. That stimulus may absolutely be delayed until after the first of the year or after inauguration, when it can be the new president's first badge of honor, in a sense.
Yeah, so much uncertainty with the election here in the middle of the week, and also translating into the markets. I think the markets are going to try to digest whatever news comes out with the election results. The dollar, as Miles mentioned, has had some volatility. It rallied up, actually broke above 94, and the intraday high actually pushed to a new little high pinprick, but still has the previous high to overcome if it wants to rally some more. But it looks like it could rally some more here, which is kind of translated over the metals. It had some volatility with gold. Gold went down to 1881, 82, somewhere around there, holding right around 1900. And so markets are trying to digest the information, just like everybody's trying to digest the information of the election results that are not yet decided.
Well, and that's why you had volatility overnight or even into the evening from an Eastern time zone standpoint, even in China. So we had the Chinese markets open. We saw gold initially start to descend when it looked like it was going Trump's way. And gold did exactly what we kind of figured it would. At one point, it's down about $16. And then it reversed and almost went back to even as the tide started to swing. But what else happened during that period of time is the Chinese yuan dropped about 4% because it looked like Trump was going to win. That was a very negative market indicator for them. And even though there's a lot more money flooding into Chinese markets than U.S. markets, they knew that the continuation of these tariff battles and trade negotiations or trade wars was going to be something that was going to continue to be absorbed. And now you've seen a swing. What you also saw last night when it started to look like it was going Biden's way was the NASDAQ futures actually went up about 3.6%, and the NASDAQ's up 4% today. So I think Techland is also very excited about a potential Biden win.
Well, you know why.
Yeah, the regulation or the dissolution or coming against them in terms of breaking up some of these monopolies was the talk from the right. So now you're going to see the metals respond accordingly when. It's not if. We saw a snapshot photo last night of some short-term volatility. Trust me, it will play out. As things become known instead of theorized, you'll get the market reaction. And we do expect there to be an ultimate rally in gold and silver. It doesn't even take a blue wave. It's just a win of the White House now would actually drive uncertainty. There are some unknowns. There's a lot of discussion about what the taxes are really going to look like through 2021 and some of the bills. What's going to be repealed? What are the executive orders going to be? What are the regulations going to be that start to be unwound in terms of what Trump did for deregulating versus wound back up by Biden? And those are all going to be things that gold and silver will respond to, especially gold as a money metal. It'll go up.
Well, I'm still hung up from about 5 minutes ago when you guys were talking about a Trump-Pelosi showdown for the next stimulus package like it's some type of necessary methadone or something like that. Like you said, we are recording on a Wednesday and we're wondering about the timing on precious metals coming up. But the reality is where we sit today looking like a potential Biden victory, his entire campaign built on COVID over everything else. Trump has been economy over everything else. Biden has been COVID over everything else. And what's the only possible solution to tightening restrictions on businesses? And that's going to be additional government stimulus packages trying to fill that gap. I think that's why you saw a surprising outcry from the working class actually for Trump in this election. It's because they know they can't sit at home and do their jobs. They have to get back into their service industries and manufacturing industries to earn their paychecks. So the only solution to this problem is additional government stimulus. So if you see some type of fistfight between an exiting Republican president and Nancy Pelosi, avoiding getting a stimulus package to then bring, for political reasons, Biden in, immediately pass a stimulus package to be able to say the Democrats are able to work together and get things done, put on your mask, we're shutting down businesses. You tell me where you think the price of gold is going when the entire country is exclusively dependent on government handouts for the next 9, 12, 18, 46 months until we magically come up with a cure to something like this.
No, that's right. I mean, you still have the Senate. You still have the Senate involved too. It's not like it's just going to be Biden and Pelosi doing whatever they want.
You want to be Mitch McConnell going down as the one guy who says no stimulus?
No, that's what I'm saying. I think Robert's saying the same thing. It's going to happen. I just don't think it's going to happen before the inauguration. It has to happen. I've got a listener and a client that was telling me about a buddy of his that works at one of the major credit agencies. And he said, look, nobody knows. They see behind the scenes. He says in 3 to 6 months, the default, the bankruptcies, the sheer magnitude of relocation or tenant upheavals is going to be unmatched at any time in many decades here in the United States. A lot of that has yet to work itself through, on top of the fact that we're well over $27 trillion in gross national debt already, federal debt.
Oh, yeah. We all forgot that there was a world before January 2020.
Right. No, and that's baked in, and that's why gold's going to go up. Was it going to go down in the short term with the Trump win? It didn't mean it wasn't going to go up. Look, we just had this incredibly volatile, aggressive year in a Trump presidency, right? It wasn't guaranteeing that gold was going to start trickling down. It was going to be a short-term dip followed by a rally. Now I think we get a short-term little spike, probably a dip after that, and we need it to come down. You guys have both been preaching this for many weeks. We'll see a lower figure, in my opinion, from where we are now, but we're ultimately going to exceed the $2,100 mark next year, no problem.
Sure, I'll tell you exactly where gold is going to come down to regardless of who wins. It's going to come down to 1820 because charts always do what charts are going to do. All news and all economic events and all of these little short-term black swan events that we think have actual meaning and actual weight in the markets on a day-to-day basis, all they do is speed up or slow down the time in which the things that are already going to happen naturally are going to happen. So Trump gets reelected, gold's going to 1820. Biden gets elected, gold's probably also going to 1820.
Just after a little spike. Robert, I mean, do you see it that way? Are you still calling for a pullback? And what are you telling your clients to do here with adding to gold and silver ounces?
Yeah, I would be buying on weakness. Whether we see 1820, 1810, a lower number, that I think that the window of opportunity is here between now and the end of the year, just like it has been in the last 5, 6, 7 years. And I've said it before the last few weeks, I'll say it again, this is going to be your opportunity. And I'm not sure how long gold is going to stay at the lower number if we get down there and touch it. You may not even be able to actually buy it in that range, but once it completes some kind of little drift lower here, that's it. It's going higher. Breaking the new all-time high, going to that inflation-adjusted number, 2,800. Gold is headed higher. So look at how much cash you can spend. Look at what you can invest in the metals and do so on weakness.
Well, and the scary thing is it may have. when it came down to 1860. I mean, it certainly could have. We could have a break.
We could have already seen it.
We're at the top end of that channel at 1900. It's a declining channel, both the top side and the downside, which generally means it's compression for the next move up when you have this downwards facing compression. So it's very possible that already happened.
It was all about compression to you a couple weeks ago.
And compression in a direction, and that matters too.
Yeah, so we may have already just seen the bottom on last Thursday's bottom with gold. It's possible, because also if you back up a few months, the seasonal strength in August, that was front run. Gold started going up in like June, July. So the seasonal pattern that we've identified here with the gold bottoming between now and the end of the year, are we ahead of that seasonal pattern? Is this already happening? This is the dip that we've been talking about. It's very possible. So I wouldn't be waiting too long, because gold is going to start to rally here once it figures out this consolidation is done.
Yeah, I'll tell you what will absolutely have been evidence of this floor already being put into your guys' point is if there's a clear Biden win here in the next week or two, and you get some serious progress made, surprisingly, on a stimulus bill. So if those two things happen, you know Biden's coming in, that's going to put a floor under gold, and you know that the stimulus package is imminent in a shorter term, then yes, I totally agree. We will have seen the floor, and from there it's just right back up over 2,000.
So other metals have also done things, but they certainly look similar. It's been a long couple weeks, guys, so I'm excited to watch the metals lag here for maybe a few more days. Like everything else, the more time that passes, the more clarity you have, and hindsight's always 20/20. So with that being said, as Robert mentioned, if we do happen to get these drawbacks, I don't know how many times we have to say we know what the writing on the wall is. We know where this stuff is going inevitably. We know that silver is $23 an ounce, and the last time it was at highs, it was more than twice this. We know that gold is already pushing against all-time highs, and it has no sign of stopping anytime soon. So every single time you get these pullbacks, you should be adding to positions as aggressively as you can, and preferably under the guidance of somebody like maybe us or some of our coworkers who have been doing this quite a while and are looking for those opportunities in the market to take best advantage in these pretty tumultuous and volatile prices. Anybody that's been a gold or silver buyer over the last 6 months knows what happens when premiums get out of control. And you don't want to be subject to major volatile price moves or a decline in the supply and demand curve that doesn't benefit you. So as always, if you ever want to discuss your personal portfolio with somebody at McIlvaney ICA, give Robert, Tori, myself, or any of our fellow advisors a call. We can be reached at 1-800-525-9556.
You can follow us on Twitter at ICA Gold, like us on Facebook, McIlvaney Financial, website McIlvaney.com. Subscribe to our channel if you enjoy it, and we'll talk to you next week. Have a good weekend.